May 1999. Hong Kong. A 14-year-old girl walks into a police station. She's shaking, crying. She tells police she's being haunted by a ghost. The ghost of a woman. A woman she helped murder. Police think she's mentally ill. They're about to send her away. Then she says something that makes them stop. She tells them where the body is. Inside a HelloKitty mermaid doll. What police found inside that doll is considered one of the most disturbing crime scenes in Hong Kong history. This is the HelloKitty murder. And it's worse than you can imagine. March 1999. Tsim Sha Tsui District, Hong Kong. A young woman named Fan Man Yi, 23 years old, goes missing. She's a hostess at a nightclub. She's also a mother. She has a young son. Nobody reports her missing. Not her family, not her friends, nobody. Because Fan Man Yi isn't just a hostess, she's also a sex worker and a drug addict. And in Hong Kong in the 90s, people like her disappear all the time. But Fan didn't just disappear, she was taken, kidnapped, tortured, and eventually murdered. By 3 men and a 14-year-old girl. And when police finally discovered what they did to her, experienced homicide detectives vomited at the crime scene. Here's what happened. Fan Man Yi had been working as a sex worker to support her drug habit and her young son. She had a client. His name was Chan Man Lok, 34 years old. A local criminal involved in drugs and loan sharking. Fan stole from him. She took his wallet. 4,000 Hong Kong dollars. About $500. Chan wanted revenge. In March 1999, Chan and 2 accomplices, Leung Xingqiu and Leung Wailun, lured Fan to an apartment in Tsim Sha Tsui. They told her they wanted to hire her for the night. When she arrived, they locked the door. Chan accused her of stealing his money. Fan admitted it. She said she'd pay him back. Chan didn't want the money. He wanted to punish her. What happened next lasted 1 month, 30 days of torture. Fan was held captive in the apartment. She was beaten daily. Punched. Kicked. Hit with metal pipes. They burned her with hot plastic. They burned her feet with candle wax. They forced her to eat feces. Her own feces. They hung her upside down and beat her. They poured hot oil on her legs. They kicked her in the head repeatedly. She begged them to stop. She begged them to kill her. They didn't. They kept her alive. Because Chan wanted her to suffer. Also living in the apartment was a 14-year-old girl. Her name has never been released because she was a minor. She was Chan's girlfriend, yes. A 34-year-old man, dating a 14-year-old. She participated in the torture. She beat Fan. She watched the men torture her. She did nothing to help. After a month of torture, Fan Man Yi died. The exact cause of death isn't clear. It was either a fatal beating or she died from her injuries and infection. When she died, Chan and his accomplices panicked. They had a dead body in their apartment. They needed to get rid of it. So they did something horrific. They dismembered her. They cut her body into pieces. They boiled her head to remove the flesh from the skull. They cooked her internal organs to destroy evidence. Then they stuffed her remains inside a HelloKitty mermaid doll, a large stuffed toy. They sewed the body parts inside. Skull. Teeth. Some bones. The rest they flushed down the toilet or threw away. The doll sat in the apartment for weeks. And nobody knew. Until the 14-year-old girl started seeing ghosts. She told Chan she was being haunted. She said Fan's ghost was coming to her, telling her to confess. Chan didn't believe in ghosts. But the girl was terrified. In May 1999, 2 months after Fan's death, the girl walked into a police station. She told officers she was being haunted. She said she needed help. The officers thought she was having a mental breakdown. Then she told them about the murder. She told them about the torture, the dismemberment, the HelloKitty doll. Police didn't believe her at first. It sounded insane, but she gave them the address. They went to the apartment. And they found the doll. When forensic investigators cut open the Hello Kitty doll, they found human remains inside. A skull, teeth, vertebrae. The horror wasn't just what was inside the doll. It was what had been done to Fan Man-yi before she died. The apartment showed signs of prolonged torture, bloodstains, burn marks, evidence of a month-long nightmare. Chan Man-lok, Leung Xing-cho, and Leung Wai-lun were arrested immediately. The 14-year-old girl was also arrested. During interrogation, the men confessed. They admitted to kidnapping Fan, torturing her, killing her, dismembering her body. But they showed no remorse. They said she deserved it because she stole from them. The case went to trial. The details were so graphic that the judge warned the courtroom before evidence was presented. Jurors were visibly disturbed. Some cried. The prosecution argued this was one of the most brutal murders in Hong Kong history. The defense tried to argue that Fan's death wasn't intentional, that the torture went too far, that they didn't mean to kill her. The jury didn't buy it. In December 1999, all three men were found guilty of manslaughter. Not murder, manslaughter. Because the prosecution couldn't prove beyond reasonable doubt that they intended to kill her, they were sentenced to life in prison. The 14-year-old girl was sentenced to juvenile detention. She was released after a few years because she was a minor. She's free today, living somewhere in Hong Kong, and nobody knows who she is. The Hello Kitty murder shocked Hong Kong. It became international news. It's considered one of the most disturbing crimes in modern Asian history. But here's what makes it even worse. Fan Man-yi had a young son. He was in foster care during her disappearance. He never saw his mother again. He never got to bury her. Because most of her body was destroyed, only fragments remained. The case also exposed the dark underbelly of Hong Kong in the 90s. Sex workers, drug addicts, people who disappeared and nobody cared. Fan's family didn't report her missing. Her friends didn't look for her. She was tortured for a month, and nobody knew she was gone. The Hello Kitty doll itself became infamous. Photos of it circulated online. It became a symbol of the crime. Hello Kitty, a character associated with innocence and childhood, forever linked to one of the most brutal murders in history. The Sanrio company, which owns Hello Kitty, never commented on the case. The case also raised questions about the 14-year-old girl. Was she a victim or a participant? She was in a relationship with a man 20 years older. She was living in the apartment during the torture. She participated in the abuse. But she was also a child. Was she manipulated, or was she complicit? The courts treated her as a juvenile. She served a reduced sentence. And then she disappeared into society. Today, the apartment where Fan Man-yi was tortured no longer exists. The building has been demolished. But people in Hong Kong remember. They remember the Hello Kitty murder. They remember Fan Man-yi, a woman who was tortured for 30 days because she stole $500. Chan Man-lok, Leung Xing-cho, and Leung Wai-lun are still in prison. They're serving life sentences. But in Hong Kong, life doesn't always mean life. They're eligible for parole. Some have already applied. The possibility that they could be released has outraged the public. Victims' rights groups have protested. They argue that the men showed no remorse, that they're dangerous, that they should never be free. But Hong Kong's legal system allows for parole, and one day they might walk free. Fan Man-yi's son is an adult now. He's never spoken publicly about his mother's murder. He was too young to remember her. All he knows is what he's read in the news, that his mother was tortured, dismembered, stuffed inside a toy. The Hello Kitty murder remains one of the most disturbing cases in criminal history, not just because of the brutality, but because of what it represents. A woman whose life was considered worthless, who was tortured for a month, who died alone, and whose body was desecrated and hidden in a children's toy. If you want more videos about the darkest true crime cases in history, subscribe, because the truth is always darker than fiction, and I'll keep telling it.